Hello everyone and welcome once again to my channel. My name is Luis Portelles, and for today's video we're going to be talking about the Miss Universe Philippines personality interview videos that were just released yesterday on their YouTube channel. As we all know, pageantry is a lot more than just beauty and charm, so in my opinion, getting to know the personality of each one of the candidates is essential to select the best lady to represent the country. I think that having a great personality, besides being intelligent, confident, empowered, and all of those nice adjectives, it's truly something that we need to have on a title holder. So for today's video, I'm going to be presenting you my assessment about the women who stood out the most for me in terms of their personality. If you enjoyed this video or find some sort of value, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, be part of the conversation in the comment section down below. Get ready to be inspired by each one of their stories and see what makes them unique. I will see you right after the intro.
Be strong.
Let's get right into it. I want to start by talking about Agusan Del Norte. First of all, she looks impeccable at all times, but let's not forget this is about the personality, and the first thing that stood out for me is that she doesn't take herself overly seriously, and that is very refreshing to see in a candidate because of course there are moments where you can be serious, but there are also moments where you can have fun and showcase, that charm and personality. To me, her video came across as if she was truly enjoying the interview process, and I think that's so important in order to connect with the audience. She also opened up about her story dealing with psoriasis, which I think is great that she's able to show a vulnerable side. So when you look at this, we got everything from the serious talk, the laughter, as well as the vulnerable. I really loved it. Now let's move on to Baguio. Krishna absolutely nailed this interview. I think that she looked, first of all, incredible. Once again, we have to highlight those things. But secondly, I really admired her ability to just hold a conversation. I feel like the way that she approached the camera, it's almost as if she was talking to a friend. So whenever I'm watching the video, I feel like I'm just listening to someone that is right there in front of me. Now, I also really love the way that she supports her answers with concrete examples. So she was talking about the people of her locality and how they stand out, and she was talking about this taxi driver who would always make sure, to be efficient, to be on time, but also to never ask for too much money, be very honest. And especially for someone like me who loves like a visual storytelling, this way of answering the questions was very, very effective. Now let's talk about Bohol, Pauline Meling's, of course, a fan favorite. And let me tell you, I really admire how eloquent Pauline is, because when she speaks, it's almost like we're listening to poetry. She has this ability when it comes to storytelling that whenever she's delivering an answer, I don't feel like it's something that has been prepared or rehearsed. She's really just going with the flow. For example, for the question when they ask you about the locality and what stands out, most people just talk about the people of the locality. However, Pauline really focused on the ocean, and the entire answer was about making you live that experience through her words. I also really admire how Pauline has found strength in her story. You know that this is her third attempt, and of course in previous editions she has also been bullied a lot because of her physique, because of different things. I mean, beauty queens are exposed to so much. But the way that this interview came across is honestly, she just embraces her entire story. She has learned from those experiences, and now she is ready more than ever for the Miss Universe Philippines crown. Let's talk about Cavite, Samantha Bonita. Honestly, watching this video just took me back to that moment where I first met Sam. And what I have to say is that I felt the same energy, meaning that the person behind the camera and the person in front of the camera is exactly the same. So I like that. Someone that is honest, authentic, that doesn't have it switched on and off. She is just herself at all times. One of the highlights of this interview for me was just how direct Samantha Bonita was with her story and her experiences. We all know that she won the title of Miss Grand Philippines at Binibini Pilipinas and ultimately represented the country at the international competition, and her performance back then was very discussed. So I really like how she's able to just face things and talk about it rather than running away from it. In a way, similar to Pauline, she is gaining strength from those experiences and bringing it into this competition. Now, I also like how she personalized her answers by talking about Lady Panlilio, her dog. For anyone who follows Sam on social media, you know that she's always talking about her dog, posting about it. So I like that she was able to bring something, an element of her life that is so true and so authentic to who she is, and incorporate it in this particular interview. Let's talk about Cebu Province, Emmanuel Vera. Honestly, I really admire her ability to develop her answers. Emmanuel will never give you a linear answer. She will always have several layers and depth and some substance. I really love the conversation that she had during the interview about growing up in the public eye Especially Emmanuel has been on this industry since such a young age, and I really like that she's being honest about the struggles of navigating those waters. She's also very open about her mental health and the struggles, the ups and downs, and I think that that's super, super important, especially in today's world and today's society where beauty queens are seen as role models. But I will point out that Emmanuel has the perfect balance of going into the sad part of things and also talking about positivity. So at the end of the day, I don't leave the interview feeling sad or feeling bad for her. I feel like I got to learn her struggles and how she grew from that. Let's talk about Davao Oriental. What a bubbly personality. Her answers were super, super refreshing, and honestly, I feel like she summarized very strategically a lot of information about herself within the answers. So by the end of the interview, although the questions were not necessarily just about herself, I felt like I learned a lot about her as a person. Definitely did not provide pageant patty answers. And honestly, I really appreciate that because it comes across as someone who is not just trying to please the organization or give them what they want. If anything, she's just being herself in front of the camera and trying just to showcase different sides of her personality. Let's move on to Makati, Michelle D, another one of the fan favorites and potential threat to obtain the title of Miss Universe Philippines. Michelle D always has very, very refreshing answers, and I love how she never fails to highlight her strengths through those answers. I also really like the way that she was able to talk about the public perception of who she is, of her personality, and make a point about it, especially after watching Michelle compete last year, have her one-year reign as a first runner-up for Miss Universe Philippines, and now coming back. I have honestly just learned to embrace who she is. Sometimes we keep on asking more relatability, more softness, more this and that, but there comes a time where the pageant fans need to understand that this is who Michelle D is. She is empowered, she has strong character, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that she's not vulnerable, that she's not a funny girl, that she is not someone's best friend, that she is not soft, all of those things. So at this point, I am just embracing her for who she is, a strong and empowered woman. Now let's talk about Miss Pampanga, and just by listening to her, you can tell that she's an incredible storyteller and a very down-to-earth person. I don't know about you guys, but for me, her answer was probably one of the most relatable of the entire bunch, especially when she talked about, just enjoying solitude at times, especially as a content creator, someone who puts themselves so much out there for people to give their opinions and interact. Sometimes it's exhausting. So I understand that feeling of, at times just wanted to be by yourself and just recharge your social battery. I think it's important to sometimes open up about your challenges and be vulnerable, and that's exactly what we got through her answer. Now, she did something as well that I really loved, and I didn't see a lot of girls doing as well in that, and she highlighted the importance of tradition when she spoke about Holy Week and wanting to just be home with her family. That answer took me back to the core values of the Philippines and the people that she is trying to represent internationally. Next, let's talk about Parañaque. First of all, as usual, she looks absolutely incredible, breathtaking on this particular interview. Although they're not wearing a lot of makeup and they're just wearing, like casual clothes, she still managed to stand out in my opinion. Now, I really like her personality. She comes across as being such a bubbly, soft-spoken woman, and I think that's a very refreshing thing to see. Why? Because as I told you before in a different video, she is one of the moms in this batch of girls, and usually we always want the mothers to be like the strong, solid, leader figures, and that doesn't mean that you cannot be soft and delicate at times. So in a way, I was taken by surprise when I saw her under this light. For me, one of the takeaways of her interview was that she's a woman who understands her responsibilities and her place in life, but at the same time, she doesn't give up on her dreams and her goals, and that's such an important message to put out there. Now, moving on, let's talk about Pasig. Honestly, I loved Candice's interaction during this interview, and that was kind of expected because we all know that she has been a trainer for aces and queens before when it comes to Q&A and interviews. She's also a spokesperson, so being in front of people and expressing herself is definitely one of her strengths. However, I really want to highlight that there is this sense of humbleness when it comes to Kali. She doesn't take herself like overly seriously, and she doesn't overhype herself. And I think that's so important because sometimes we tend to put people in this pedestal and they become so unrelatable, so unattainable that we almost feel like we can never be on that level. I don't get those vibes from Kali at all. As expected, her answers are supernatural, down-to-earth, relatable content full of substance, which is exactly what I am looking for, especially for the personality interview. That's an aspect of them that I really want to see, and that's exactly what she delivered. I am more than excited for Kali, and the rest of the competition. Let's talk about the candidate representing Tiaong and how much her personality was able to shine through the camera. I actually had the opportunity to meet Afia a few days ago, and honestly, in person, I was impressed by her strength of character. You could feel, like a very strong aura. That's exactly what I got from this particular interview as well. She seems to be so confident and so sure of herself, and that is very refreshing, especially for someone that doesn't look like the average Filipino. And although we do celebrate uniqueness and diversity, we all know that sometimes standing out in a crowd, people tend to point their fingers at you, and it's not always under a positive light. Especially if you watch her story video on the YouTube channel of Miss Universe Philippines, she talked about finding a place where she feel like she belonged and that people would embrace her for who she truly is. I got the same vibe from this interview. So honestly, I'm just very excited for her because I feel like in terms of story and in terms of character, she's one of the most interesting girls so far in this batch. Now, I want to talk about zambales because I feel like CJ is one of those girls that is already tagged as being the performer in this batch of girls. We already saw what she's capable of during the Binibini Pilipina days, and everyone is expecting that and even more for her time at Miss Universe Philippines. Now, when you think of a performer, I was expecting her to come across as this very confident and power woman. However, when you watch her interview, she's just giving me pretty much girl next door vibes, like a friend, like very down to earth, very calm, very chill. And honestly, I really like that balance. She speaks about herself as being one of the people, like she's not representing the people. She is part of the people. And that is clear to me, especially when she opened up about being the breadwinner of her family. Having to provide for a group of people is a lot of pressure on your shoulders, of course. But still, although that's a lot of responsibility, she still managed to have ambitions and dreams for herself. So that's really commendable. Honestly, I'm really excited to see where this journey is going to take her, where she will land in the competition. And, CJ just has a special place in my heart. So I'm rooting for her all the way. Now, of course, I want to know, what do you guys think? Let me know if some of your favorites made my list or if there is someone that I should have included as well. I will be reading you, of course, in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this one almost every single day. And if you want more content, just click on this video right here and keep watching. I will see you on the next one with more content. Until then, stay safe, be kind to one another, sending you all my love, all my kisses, and I will see you on the next one.